Travel back Balenciaga, 30,000 just for luggage. Financial advisor bugging.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to W.W.J.D. This week we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite, Cardi B. Good. Lover or hater, which I happen to love Cardi B. She's all about the bag. She's all about the money. She's all about the flex. She's all about the turn up. And she wants you to know. She wants you to know she didn't lease anything. She didn't rent anything. She puts up the post to show you how much she spent on everything that she drops if it's in question. So recently she caught my eye because she purchased 2 Lambos, and I'm not sure if you checked her out with the carpool karaoke. She talked about the 5 cars that she has, and she has 2 Lamborghinis, a Chevy Suburban, a Maybach, and a Bentley truck. Now, all of that, when I added up the totals of everything, over $1 million that she spent. $1,837 on the cars that she purchased. Cash. She wants you to know she paid cash. She put up her statement from Wells Fargo to let everybody know this wasn't a lease. This wasn't some, fake stunting for the gram. She actually deposited over $500,000 out of her account to go pay cash for these Lambos. We also saw recently she bought her mom a house. She talked about how it took her, some time to save up to be able to do that, because the only house that she could afford at one point when she started getting on was $600,000, and in New York, $600,000 is probably a box. So I can only assume that she spent more than $600,000 on her mom's house. I don't know if she paid cash for it, but we know Cardi is a spender. So what would Jay do if I were Cardi B's financial advisor? Now, Barty Gang, calm down before everybody starts having something to say, because I'm talking about Cardi B. I'm not talking about Cardi B, I'm talking about the financial decisions that she's made. And at some point there comes a time when you don't need to impress, or you don't need to do it just because you can do it. You don't have to spend it because you have it. There's a comfort that you have in knowing that if you want to, at any point, any moment, you can go cash out whatever you want. Cardi's not at that point right now. She's young, she's just made it. She's on top. She's worked hard, so she's spending it. And the first thing I would do, shockingly, I learned, she's from New York, and a lot of people in New York don't even drive. And Cardi happens to be one of those people who doesn't even know how to drive. So if I was her financial advisor, Cardi, why do you need 5 cars? Why do you need 5 high-end luxury vehicles?
To take pictures with it.
And you can't drive. In her case, I would have probably suggested that and I'm really against leasing, but it satisfies certain lifestyles, and the celebrity lifestyle, you change cars all the time, you don't really drive it that much. You could get it ride around the block a couple times, and for the most part it's probably just sitting. You can only drive 1 car at a time, and you can't even drive, Cardi, so they're just probably sitting there. They look good. You might take it out and have somebody drive you. Offset might take you around. You might have a driver. But it's just an expense, a depreciating asset. Everybody says that, but what does that mean when you have a depreciating asset like a vehicle? Basically, as soon as you drive the car off the lot, it's no longer worth what you paid for it. I think it's like it drops 40% in value in some cases, where if you wanted to then turn around and resell this car, you wouldn't get anywhere near the sticker price what you paid for it. So it's really not a good investment to purchase a car cash, especially spending over $1 million on cars. I wouldn't have suggested that she do that. We probably would have had to have a long conversation about that. And the reason why is, like I said, it's a depreciating asset. It's not something that will make her any more money. It's not something that she probably even uses as much. It was probably a fun purchase, to go in and purchase something that, years prior you weren't able to do. But in the long run, it's just $1 million sitting in the garage getting dusty. Another thing that I want to bring out is for what should you do? I mentioned leasing. Leasing to me is like renting. In most cases, people like to get it for the write-off. They always say, well, I can write it off. But usually what you can write off versus what you're spending, You know, you have to be really careful with the miles, make sure you don't drive too far. You have to calculate, make sure there's no damages or anything, because you know that you're gonna owe that at the end, and it's just renting. You're renting the vehicle, you're gonna get rid of it, and you have to start all over. So I don't really condone renting, again, in special circumstances like a Cardi or an athlete or somebody with a high income that's really not gonna drive the car and not keep the car, or maybe wanna trade it in every few months, then, you know, nothing wrong with that in that case. But a rule of thumb for regular everyday people when you're purchasing a car or you're looking to get a car is, I say, don't spend any more than 10% of your monthly gross income. Your gross income is what you get before taxes. So if you bring home $3,000 a month, then your card note should be no more than $300. So take 10% of whatever you bring in and make sure your car note stays in that, because otherwise it's getting a little too expensive for your income versus the liability and the debt that you're creating. Again, I believe in always not cashing out, but keeping the money. You know, I would have told Cardi, look, if you got $1 million to blow and $1 million to spend, let's take $1 million, put it up, invest it in something. I'm sure, you know, somebody's guiding her money and making sure that she's putting it where it should go so that it can grow. But $1 million, Culture and Culture's kids, and Culture's kids, that money could have gone and been invested and, you know, grow a long time from now versus just dropping it cash and being done. Now again, you're gonna hear me say it a million times, like I've said a million times before. It doesn't matter how much money you make, it matters how much money you keep. So with dropping $1 million on over $1 million on cars, that's just $1 million gone. And again, I think before in another video I've talked about opportunity costs, and you not only lose or give away the $1 million, but you give away the opportunity for that $1 million to become, say, $1.5 million or $1.7 million or even $2 million in the future. So it's not just the money that you cash out and give up, but it's the opportunity and the growth that that money could have made had you put it someplace else. So, you know, Cardi has a good balance. She wears and rocks Fashion Nova, which we know is not really a high-end expensive brand. I'm sure she doesn't have to buy any piece that she gets from them. And her money's long, you know what I'm saying? She has endorsements. The money is constantly coming in. She's doing shows. She's got appearances. Everybody loves her. She's marketable. So she's always going to have a check. But again, it doesn't matter how much money and how many checks she gets. It's how many checks that she keeps. So hopefully as she gets older, and as she matures a little bit financially and realizes, you know, I don't have to go pay cash for this stuff just to prove to you I got it, so that you don't challenge and say that she's rented it or whatever. And who cares if she rents it? If she rents it, but she's got $1 million in the bank to buy it cash if she wants to, then who really cares? So Cardi B, I could be your financial advisor. Hit me up, because I'm about the checks. I like boarding jets. I like the flex. So that's it for this week's edition of W.W.J.D. If you have any questions, if you have any celebrities or athletes or influencers that you'd like me to talk about, any purchases that they've made that are pretty interesting or wild out there, and you'd like to know my opinion, what would I do? Drop it in the comments, leave me a question. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up the video. Subscribe so that, you know, you get the notifications whenever I do a new video so you don't miss it.